Scrappers! Tom from iScrap. Today is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, and we are filming from off-site today. We hope that everyone is doing well, staying busy, staying safe, and staying healthy, most importantly. If our video Okay, sorry, we're live again. I told you, choppy internet, but we hope that everyone is doing well, staying busy. Like we said, we are filming from off-site today, so we're a little different background, but hopefully it makes everyone smile a little bit. Looks like a cool job site that we're on, and we're not going to go into too many details, even though some of those questions will come. But hey, here we are. Everything is going well. Hope everyone is out there staying busy. Don't have to tell you that we're really happy with where the market is. We see how things are going. We see how things are moving, and we're just looking at the market overall right now, and we're saying to ourselves, wow, what have we done to deserve such a nice price increase that we've seen over the last few months? Here we are. Today's Wednesday, June 10th. And we know that so many people are in a place that they never thought that they would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. But let's talk about the positive things. Copper has been up recently. We saw another 6-cent increase per pound in the copper market. What does that mean? That means that copper is continuing to shine, and what that shows us is that the optimism for the manufacturing industry is different than it has been in the past. Now, we know that many people are changing their habits, whether it's wearing a face shield, wearing glasses, putting on masks all the time, using an exorbitant amount of plastic rubber gloves. We know that everyone's being safe, but what we're doing is watching a market. We're trying to watch a market in a way that we've never watched before because we're in a predicament that we've never seen before. Now, we have copper prices up 6 cents a pound, but overall in the last week, we see copper up about 12 cents per pound. What does that mean for your material at your scrap yards? Well, what that means is we're going to be watching these markets, and we should start to see prices increasing on copper bare bright, number one tubing, number two, really quickly. We had a question from someone just the other day talking about aluminum and kind of taking what we've talked about over the last few months about having more aluminum staying in the country. Now, the tariffs were put into a place to be able to give the aluminum smelters and the aluminum manufacturers and producers inside of the U.S. a much greater window to be able to bring material in. Now, as these manufacturers, as these smelters, as everyone else has been hoping more material stays in the country, ultimately by bringing and keeping more scrap aluminum in the country, we fully expect to see a much higher price of aluminum. Why do we expect to see a higher price? Well, the tariffs will hopefully start to go down as the United States continues to make more deals, whether it's with the European Union, whether it's with overseas countries like India, different countries in Asia. We heavily trade with Japan, South Korea we work with, China, of course. So if we're able to keep more material here inside of the United States, then we're going to be able to get more bang for our buck, and we should see those prices increasing. What we don't know is the next 5 to 6 months. Not only are we coming out of such an incredibly difficult period over the last few months, we're also going into an election, and we don't know what way it's going to swing. Now, we're not going to go all, political on you, but when you have two people that have very opposing views, each one is going to change how the scrap prices move moving forward. One might ease up on tariffs. One might keep tariffs in place looking for a longer term, prosperity. Some people will do quick things to make it move, like that quickly. So we don't know what's going to be going on. We're watching, we're paying attention, but we're optimistic. With those copper prices rising to almost year highs, 2020 highs, 5.5, 6 months here, we've seen the market rebound. Now we need to see the market start to get back to work. I'm in multiple states, and we're looking at all different things. We're talking to different scrap yards. We're looking at piles of steel. We're looking at piles of copper. We're looking at all these different things, and we're just trying to figure out where is the market today and where is the market going to be tomorrow. Oil prices have risen, which is a good thing for the steel market. Maybe it's not good for your gas pump, but we still are seeing very low prices of oil. $35 to $40 per barrel is the range that we've seen recently. And with that range being where it is, it's made it so gas has been much cheaper. But we've started to see that price of oil increasing over the last few weeks as we've seen the stock market increasing and other commodities like copper increasing as well. Now on the copper side of things, we said it, 12 cents again, week over week. That's a great sign. We woke up this morning to see the market up 1 penny. We got a couple of pieces of job news, and we saw the market jump to 6 cents higher today. Around $2.65 is the trading price. Of course, that's not scrap price. But we're looking at the trading price and we're trying to learn things. And we know that scrappers are constantly asking us every single day, multiple times, how are we going to make more money with our copper? When is a good time for us to sell? You know, they say, Tom, Virginia, when should we sell our copper? What should we be looking for in the market? Now, we try not to give too much advice because if we're wrong, we don't want you to blame us. But if we're right, well, hell, you make more money. But when we look at these things, the copper market is still very unstable, even with the increase that we've seen. Take the stock market, for instance. We saw the NASDAQ hit over 10,000 points. What does that mean to you that don't pay attention to the stocks? Well, that means that we hit an all-time record high. 3.5 months after COVID happened, we saw an all-time record high. We've seen more people going back to work, more manufacturers coming back here. And we see more copper staying inside of the United States, which will lead to higher prices. Higher consumer demand will lead to higher prices. Higher industrial demand will lead to higher prices. So as we watch, we're learning what's going on every single day. If you asked me if I expected to see the stock market come back from going from 29,000 points down to 18,000 points in 1 month, and then in the next 2.5 months going back to 27,000, that's a bet that I would not take. I mean, maybe 1,000,000 to 1 odds, and you always take 1,000,000 to 1 odds, of course. But who would have ever predicted that we would have seen a 35% erosion to then recoup 28% of that? So we're watching these markets, and it really is one of the more difficult things for us to tell where the copper, aluminum, brass, and nickel markets are going to go. While I said nickel, let's talk about nickel. Nickel, Inconel, stainless steel, 304, 316 stainless, all of these different stainless products coming from nickel are cheap right now. Hell, we'll say it, they're cheap, they're too cheap. But why are they so cheap? Let's ask the question of why. I tell all of my team all the time, don't tell me what we need to do. Tell me why we need to do it and how we're going to get there. Don't just tell me what to do. So with the nickel prices being as low as they are, there are reasons. Reason one, the aerospace industry is hurting heavily right now. You know, you might have seen in the news Boeing talking about the production that they've had, the lack of production that they've had. You see other airlines, American, United, Southwest, not having flights right now. I mean, you see the beautiful blue sky behind my head. No planes. There's no planes. No planes, no manufacturing. They're not going to be producing new planes as quickly. People are not going to be traveling as much as often. We expect to see more people staying local inside the United States for business trips, for vacations, for things like that. So there's going to be much slower traffic in the sky. Slower traffic in the sky means that airlines are not going to be as aggressive as to replace their fleet. They're not going to be as aggressive to add to their fleet. And same thing and then it kind of transfers over into the aerospace world where these nickel products, these stainless, these Inconels, these things are needed to be able to kind of go. You know, we're watching different markets and we see John asking prices are coming back but not in North Dakota. Is there a reason for it? Well, John, that's why iScrap exists, to be able to find different options in your area and to talk to other scrappers about what the market is by them and get a better idea if maybe your scrapyard is just kind of sandbagging. Maybe they want to make more money because they didn't make any money during the COVID period and they're artificially keeping their prices lower. I don't have the answer. I don't know where you go. I don't know what scrapyard you deal with. But what I do know is everyone has a reason for what they do. Some people want to make money because they made no money for 3 months, and that's going to affect the scrap prices. Other scrap yards that have consistent accounts or are in less affected areas didn't have a slowdown, so they could get a little more aggressive with their prices. Also, when you see about a 20 to 25 cent increase in copper over the last 2.5 weeks, this is a very unexpected increase, as the stock market has been, and scrapyards might have sold all their material already, or they see the market having a rapid escalation and they might be holding again to be able to sell, and they're not sure if they want to get too aggressive on the buying door. But iScrap was created back in 2011, started in 2010, we really started opening in 2011, for this exact reason. There was no transparency in the industry when it came to you, the scrapper. And our goal has constantly been to give you more information, more prices, to be able to get more ideas of what's going on in the overall market. Thank you, Bob, for that compliment. Looking good in the field. I got my hard hat, got my earmuffs. I'm ready to shine, baby. It's hot out. 92 degrees right now. I can tell you guys I am certainly sweating a little bit. But when you look at what's happening with these overall markets right now, it's so difficult to learn and it's so difficult to grow. And we're looking at them and we're trying to figure out what direction we're going in. You behind me here, you see a massive building. Lots and lots of steel, lots of aluminum, millions of pounds. And there are so many buildings like this throughout the country that should be getting destroyed, scrapped, creating jobs, chopping up steel, melting the iron, keeping it domestic, bringing it to our smelting operations inside the country. To be able to take a plant like this and knock it down, and to be able to grow a site like this into a completely new avenue, that's what we want to be able to do. Donald just said enjoying the scale job at my yard where I don't have to deal with the heat. Hey, Donald, I don't blame you. My air conditioning broke in my car. I don't want to deal with the heat either. But when it comes to paying the bills, I'll stand in as much heat as I need to be able to get the job done, as so many of you scrappers do today. Show me the money, baby. That's what Jamie said. You got to put a little extra hustle in sometimes and chop buildings like this down to be able to get there. But the problem is there are so few companies pulling the trigger on these large projects that it's very difficult to be able to move a massive amount of material. There are hundreds of power plants, industrial operations, if not thousands throughout the country that are sitting idle, not being used, dead to the world. But the problem is there's so much money involved in knocking certain things down, it's very difficult to be able to, justify companies spending millions of dollars, whether it be for abatement, whether it be for any type of, just general stabilization. This stuff's hard. This stuff's really hard. But we're watching these copper prices. We're watching these aluminum prices. Sorry, working with the sun here, trying to get a focus on. But we're trying to work with these things to be able to learn where the markets are and how the markets are going to be growing. And when we see all of these different things going on right now, it's really difficult for us to really put our foot down and know where the market is, where the market's going, and how we can help you make more money with it. Now let's talk about some of the Bear Bright prices that we've seen over the last week. Rockaway, New Jersey, home of iScrap, $2.20 a pound for copper. We saw $2.07 for Bear Bright. We saw $1.97. Highest price we saw was $2.22. Lowest price we saw, $1.75 per pound for Bear Bright over the last 7 days. Aluminum sheet, one of everyone's favorite things to be able to scrap. We saw aluminum sheet prices 13 cents a pound. Sheet price at 15 cents a pound. Highest price we saw on sheet, 22 cents per pound. Now, insulated copper wire prices, of course, are going to be affected by this nice increase of copper that we've seen. We've seen regular, everyday copper wire ranging from 43 cents a pound up to about 67 to 70 cents a pound. Now, Eddie just asked us, they're saying that there's an aluminum shortage. Why don't they increase the prices so more people bring in their cans? And I'm going to add to that, or their other scrap metal. Now, there is an aluminum shortage, but that's really a twofold question that you have to look at and think about from multiple different layers. We've read articles about different countries over in Asia that are holding millions of pounds of brand new ingots to purposefully help drive up or down the market with their choosing when they choose. So we don't know where the aluminum prices are going to go because we still have massive tariffs in place throughout the entire world, and we just don't know when they're going to get loosened up. When they get loosened up, we'll be able to have a better idea of where the markets are, but until that happens, it's very difficult for us to tell where the markets are going to be going. Other things that we've been looking at, yellow brass. Yellow brass, we saw a low price of 87 cents. We saw a high price of $1.27. Our price here in Rockaway, New Jersey, $1.18 for yellow brass, just to give you an idea of where the markets are. Now let's talk about catalytic converters. Meow, meow, meow. Everyone likes cats because they're small, they're compact, they're simple. They can be worth $8, $10 for an aftermarket. They could be worth $1,000 for a really good OEM. Now, what goes into a catalytic converter that makes it valuable? Platinum, palladium, and rhodium. Now, these three metals they're not all present inside of catalytic converters, but they are all entangled in there in some way, shape, or form. So when you go to our website, rrcats.com, I agree, Eddie, it is time for more companies to be keeping their scrap here in the United States to help the recycling movement not spread out, but to keep it in. But don't forget a couple of things that are really important. Many of us are using cell phones that are not assembled or made here in the U.S. So the metals that go into the cell phones need to come from somewhere. Oftentimes the metal gets exported and the overseas countries are able to do it better than we are here in the United States. And what we see with the current administration is they're trying to keep more jobs here, bring more manufacturing back, and in turn, more manufacturing staying here in the United States will lead to more metal staying here in the United States, which will lead to higher prices, which will be good for everyone. Now back to rrcats.com. Our team at RRCats is quoting thousands of catalytic converters every week, and we want to make your life a little easier. You can send us pictures of your catalytic converters, serial numbers of your catalytic converters, or pictures and serial numbers of your catalytic converters to give us a better idea on what the prices are. Our website, rrcats.com, will give you the ability to learn how to ship and even have shipping paid for you once you reach a certain threshold on your catalytic converter scrap. Look at some of the reviews that Rockaway Recycling, our sister company, has online with the team at rrcats.com. It'll give you a better idea and make you feel a little more secure about how the catalytic converter selling process goes. As we move more and more into a online world, the team at RRCats, the team at Rockaway Recycling, team at iScrap, we're constantly evolving and adding more features in. We're trying to get more yards listed on the iScrap app. Martin just said, is there any process to add a scrap yard that's not in the app already? Absolutely there is, Martin. Send us a message privately. We'll make sure to help get your yard added on there. And if you work there or you're the owner, you could become a premium member as well. And we'll do that to make it so you're on there getting your information nice and easy. Now, as I run out of battery, going back to some of the markets and some of the things that we're looking at and how we're reacting, we're just trying to learn. Next week, we'll be answering many of your questions, and we look forward to them because we can't answer all of them because we don't know what questions there are. So if you have questions on your catalytic converters, your aluminum scrap, your bare bright pricing, your insulated copper wire, what's worth separating, what isn't worth separating, we want you to ask us those questions below this video. Post those comments below, and over the next week, we'll compile the answers. If we don't get them to you already between now and then, we will sure as heck make sure to answer them next week. Now, as we sit here off-site, stand here, I guess, filming and trying to learn more about the scrap market, we can't do it without you, and we're hoping that you get more money because of us. We want to be able to share more market information with you, give you more videos, give you more information, more blogs, more knowledge, more prices that are happening locally and even globally. You look at the gold price right now that has dipped below $1,700 an ounce. Many people might look at that as a bad thing. I look at it as a positive thing. With gold price falling below $1,700 an ounce, that means that some investors are divesting themselves from gold and thus putting more money into the stock market because they're more confident where the markets are going. Sure, that's going to hurt the electronic scrap, but let's just call it the way that it is. Very few of us are doing electronics for a living full time. It might be a part-time thing you get when you get some computer towers, and it might affect your prices, by a penny or two, but we're not talking about huge dollars unless you have huge volumes of really good gold-bearing circuit boards. Now, we've written blogs about circuit boards, and we'll make sure to show those to you. And we would love to talk about any type of electronic scrap that you want us to talk about. Circuit breakers, CBM, which means copper-bearing material, fuses, electronics, low-grade electronics, microwave boards, computer boards, laptops, touch screens, cell phones. We will tell you what you want to hear as long as you tell us what it is. We can't guess what you want. We do our best every single week to give you information on scrap prices. Copper is up. Aluminum is stable. Steel is up as well. If you have the iScrap app downloaded on your iPhone or on your Droid, and you download it today if you haven't, or you update it, we are now pushing out multiple alerts every single week to give you a better idea of where the markets are, when the markets are jumping, when the markets are dipping. Our job is to help you make more money, to give you more information so you can use the app, find the scrap yards, and to be able to make sure you are learning. And like Bob said, it's hot. Make sure you're staying hydrated. We got a heat wave coming throughout. We know that the southeast of the country had a bit of a hurricane flowing through there, and we know that we are all dealing with all types of stuff right now. Let's just go with stuff. I'll tell you the same thing that I've told hundreds of people over the last 3 months. This situation sucks. It is what it is, and what you make of it is how you'll be able to help change what you're doing from here. Scrappers, this is Tom from the iScrap app, and every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we like to share with you our market news. If you have questions, comments, ideas, more information for us to help get your yard added, sell your catalytic converter through rrcats.com, learn more about copper, brass, aluminum, steel, iron, nickel, Inconel, Monel, carbide. Oh boy, that was a good one. Maybe I'll try to do a video on how many metals I can name in a row without taking a breath. That will be a good video that Virginia and I will make coming up soon. I'll do it off the cuff. Guys, Tom from iScrap. Today's Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. Stay safe, stay healthy, make money. Until next week, I'll scrap you later.